Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play The New Order as Xinan Administration Office. The king is back, baby. It's been, I think, a month at this point since the last episode went live, but we're back, we're here, playing wonderful, wonderful Yunnan. So what can we do? We've growth in the southwest, we can survey the land. We can try to shore up our weaknesses as well, gives a little bit of political power, which we don't need. War support goes up a little bit. I mean, it's hard to say. What do you give us? Poverty rate will improve. More cost and development. Lock survey for states. You know what? More resources I think could be beneficial for sure. But I welcome everybody back to a long hiatus. We're here. We're ready to go. We are missing. What resource are we missing right now? I mean, Jet's GDP, 38%. It means it's gone down significantly. Inflation's at about 1%, which is reasonable. GDP growth is at 3.5. Honestly, it all seems pretty good. We got a massive surplus, 7.1% GDP. How are we making so much money? Is it just because we're not spending anything? Revenue 0.9. A lot of money from income tax. A lot of money from excess revenue. Yeah, we're just not really spending anything, which is pretty good, I guess. Like, how much do we have in debt? Debt right now is 1.6 billion. We have a surplus of, okay, so after like 5 years, that would be paid off theoretically. I mean, that could be good. On simplicity and naivete. If one were to ask Luhan what he thought about the National Southwest Association University, he'd have no choice but to say complicated. On one hand, he had repeatedly refused Tokyo and Nanjing's request to shut down dissent in the NSAU, or failing that, the school itself. They would have, that was because he wanted to use it for the political balancing act he has played all the time as governor of Yunnan, as well as to help keep social discontent in check. On one hand, the dissent voices were going to be going from an annoyance to a genuine threat to the stability of the government of Yunnan. Rumor even had that some of these people in the NSAU facility were even secretly helping the insurgencies. Recently, he had ordered some nominal crackdowns on the college, and even arrested some of the more loud-mouthed intellectuals. But he couldn't push further given his reluctance to do such things in the first place. Today, Luhan has been informed that a young loudmouth named Zhang Jimin, looking at the Zhang's blustering, Lu could only conclude that this was a stripping was too young, too simple, and sometimes naive. As an elder, Luhan had seen much more of the world. After all, he had stood and fought against the Japanese invaders in countless battles. Zhaozhou, Wuhan, Changsha, not least among them. This Zhang, on the other hand, was nothing better doing his life than fiddle with circuits and trying to make big news by criticizing Lu with Western theories, as well as fabricating and spreading scandals about the regime. Now Lu starts feeling angry about these incapable kids. Perhaps, Lu thought, I should go in and lead the crackdown myself to offend this kid a bit, if they are not too agile to catch up to me. He shook that thought off within a few minutes. Never mind that. I'm too busy with making a big fortune for Xinan anyway. And being low-key is smarter. Mr. Gao to a hilt, I have no responsibility to teach these little imbeciles my life lessons as an elder. I'm not their grandfather, and I don't pay for anything. Why should I worry about their capabilities? Okay. Now I'm going to say that's probably going to come back and bite him in the ass. That's just my my theory here. We shall see. So how many economic units do we actually have right now? We are at 9 out of 9, 4 and 5. So we're making like a decent. How many guns do we have in storage? A lot less than I thought. But I mean, for the size of the country, I feel like that's like fairly okay. Insufficient resources, rubber, we don't have to worry about you too much. And what do we have in our decisions? So again, the NPA and the NRA, very powerful. The bandits and the communists, basically, are nothing to worry about. And I think that's really all we have. The only thing we actually really have in here. I mean, the communists are just getting less and less powerful. You know, we can focus a little bit on the bandits, sure, why not? And a simple assignment. Guangxi enjoyed his work as a land appraiser. It gave him the opportunity to see great sights and travel vast distances, even if it meant writing down all of the minute details that most others wouldn't notice. This time, he was on an assignment from the governor of Yunnan to assess the amount of valuable minerals in the area. as many peasants had allegedly truly remarkable numbers. Quan had never been to the southwest of China, so he accepted the task and made his way towards the provincial capital. As soon as he got there, he began to hear rumors of communist and anti-right partisans hiding out in the countryside. People whispered in the pubs and general stores about hearing guns go off in the small hours of the morning, or how their cousin who worked for a minister went missing all of a sudden. Quan didn't pay much mind to such speculations. The governor's aides had briefed him about this very issue, and they told him that there was nothing to worry about. Surely they wouldn't lie to him like that. Despite this, he had made some notes for their supposed base areas in journal, and pulls out some maps to begin his work. It's nothing but tall tales. Okay, let's open up some new mines for our research. It is still 64. You know, let's get two new hospitals. I think that sounds great. How are all of you guys doing? So yeah, Germany's civil war is over. A lot of conflicts going on in Russia, but that's kind of, you know, to be expected. And down the Burma Road. A man makes his way down the Burma Road, sent by the NPA to the NRA. His outfit is designed to be inconspicuous as possible, just a simple cloak and plain clothes. Getting past the border was easy. The customs official had been bribed to let him and many others like him through. Once upon a time, he was a bandit, imprisoned by the Japanese for wreaking havoc in the countryside. Once he reached the prison of the NPA, they offered him a new path in life. They sprang him from jail if he'd go south and train with the NRA in preparation for the liberation of China. Once this man was a bandit, fighting only for himself. Now he is on his way to becoming a soldier, and he will fight for the future of China. Every man's story is different, their lives are all unique, yet many follow the same general cadence. Bandits and criminals being sprung from prison, being sent down the Burma Road. Their motives vary from person to person. Some fight for their own personal redemption, driven by a passion to prove their own change in nature. Some fight for the country, being propelled forward by a love of China. Some fight for revenge, seeking to tear down the Japanese for their humiliation of China. Whatever their reason may be, they all walk down the same path. The NRA accepts each and every one of them, forming an underground army of rebels, ready to spring into action and reclaim their homeland. All of this happens under the nose of the Japanese, their eyes and ears in areas blinded by mountains of money. The stage for an insurrection is being set. The pieces are being placed with methodical precision. For the ones placing them know one immutable truth. The fate of China rests on their efforts. Army will form. Okay. I mean, might as well just do all the surveys, right? They'll be done in 60 days. Reichskommissariat has won the Ukrainian Civil War, so Ukraine has firmly gone back into the German sphere. Okay. And you've united the Far East. I mean, it looks like all of the communist states are doing fairly well in Russia, so we'll probably see some sort of reunited USSR at some point. They're more likely to peacefully unite, versus, of course, they're like different ideologies. We'll kind of see who comes out on that power struggle, you know, when the time comes. And are we training more units right now? We are, very slowly. West Russia has conquered some more territory, and again, that just leads more to what I was saying about the fact that, yeah, I mean, the Soviet republics are doing very, very, very well. I mean, the Komi Soviet and the West Russian Revolutionary Front are at war with each other, and Tomacheski is now in charge of the West Russian Revolutionary Front, and I believe he's a little bit more aggressive than if you were to play as Zhukov, as you maybe have saw in our previous campaign, where we did play as the West Russian Revolutionary Front. And I mean, if you're looking for more content to watch, you can go and absolutely watch that series. From, like, summer? I actually don't remember exactly when it was. Oh, and Kennedy's been shot, but that's kind of what we were expecting to happen. So our credit rating has gone up. What are we at then now? Hey, acceptable! Look at that, we're level 1. Now, why does it go from 214? I could not tell you. Staying off in the English channel. Now, I believe I had the setting where the great powers cannot cause a nuclear war. I believe that's on by default. Because I don't want the campaign to end because Germany and the United States decide to nuke each other. So we'll kind of see who comes out on top on that. Again, it doesn't really matter. Our main effort is just making sure Japan is as weak as possible. Whether or not that's, you know, fighting in the Philippines. Are they still fighting in Malaysia? No. They are not. America looks like they've won that war. I'm trying to think, is there any other conflicts that Japan can get involved in? I know in the most recent patch, which came out like the end of last month, that they've added like Indian unification stuff. But obviously, we're not playing on that patch. you know, we're playing on the previous one because that's how long ago it's been since we've started this campaign. So I'm not really too sure, again, like, really what Japan is able to do. Tax cuts. I mean, we could theoretically do a tax cut. Increase our growth for the next 6 months. You know what? Sure. We're still making money. We'll do a little bit of tax cut. That was going to bolster up our GDP growth. And look at that, we're at 4.1%. Like, it's already gone over an extra 1% boost from when we even started this episode. So that seems good. We want to make a Yunnan that is as rich as humanly possible. A day in the mines. They say that a miner's body tells a story of his life. Every scar, every scab, every bit of callus that was a signal for how long they had been slaving away at 1,000 meters under the earth. Many did not make it back to the surface alive. Luhan had held a pickaxe in his hand since he was 12 years old, and at the age of 22, his body had every mark of the preceding decade. It was grueling work, but at least it gave him enough to ensure the continued existence of his family. Lu did not know China outside, the grasp of the Japanese control, but he could not say that had any real relevance to his life. In the mines, flags and allegiances hold little weight. One day, however, his overseer called the entire crew over to some new Japanese safety equipment that had been brought in. Lau was able to bear witness to new excavators, lift mechanisms, safety helmets, and other gadgetry which was designed to make his life less precarious. He'd never seen anything like it before, but he had hoped that it would make it easier for him to smell the outside air at the end of the day. His helmet strap was a bit tight. See, look, maybe Japan is actually a benevolent force, and Luhan was actually right. Of course, we will still be rebelling against the Japanese either way. But, you know, now you've got a helmet that probably has like a little flashlight on it or something. That could be fun. New excavators. A lift, so you don't have to probably climb up and down ladders. I mean, that sounds good. Reduce power by 10. So we can spend some more money. You know what? We actually do have money now. So this is probably actually fine. We'll improve our administration in rural regions. Again, it's not like the communists are really doing anything of note. And the NRA is at 100%. When things fire off, it will be a very, very violent affair, I would have to imagine. Okay, again, that's gone up a little bit, but our surplus is still looking good. We can also, like, theoretically do some austerity as well. What's the penalties for this? Factory output goes down. I mean, it just makes our army a little worse, which is honestly fine. You know, yeah, we'll even do a little bit of military austerity, because, again, I don't think the war is going to be happening within, you know, these 6 months. I would have to imagine. 65. You know what? We don't have a research bonus. We'll go for consumer goods efficiency. I think that is worthwhile. Need consumer goods, spend some equipment. We get way more supplies, so we're going to press... Again, we're going to press all these buttons. We have so much political power. We maybe do need to save it for something. I'm not too sure. But, you know, we had like 450. We can be a little splurgy when it comes to improving our resource extraction capabilities to make the country as rich as we possibly can. And let's grow in the southwest. Okay, we don't have any more of these, but when they're all finished, we maybe will have a few more options available to us. Got 500 equipment to improve the military. Just fine. Germany's conquered Slovakia. I'm not too surprised that Slovakia was not able to really hold their own against the might of the Germans. Like, have they fully unified all of I mean, Poland is still independent. The Baltics are still in a civil war. But for the most part, Germany has kind of reasserted itself on the European stage for sure. Like, United States seems like they're doing fine. Again, Japan's doing okay. Like, who's actually winning the Cold War? The U.S. Germany is at the bottom, but again, that's kind of to be expected after they had their civil war. They kind of pushed them down a lot. Their faction is a lot weaker, so they lose a lot of points. Indian National Congress has split. But again, there's not really a way for them to unify right now. It's just not a It is not in this patch. Okay, so we got the Central Siberian Republic. I do like their little clover, though. I like their ideological symbol. And like these guys, it's kind of hard. I mean, the West Russian Revolutionary Front, they're actually having a lot harder time than I would have expected. And grown in the Southwest. In defiance of the exasperated advice of his protective staff, Luhan had taken it upon himself to travel with a state economic advisors to the most rural part of Yunnan. All had said that it was foolish for him to go, given the clear threats and dangers of assassins. But Luhan himself knew that the very opposite was true. He could not be seen to run and hide. He could not be seen to be avoiding the countryside. Such was an invitation only to more unrest, more dissent. Besides, his president also ensured that the bureaucrats dispatched performance their functions to the best of their abilities, rather than which was minimal acceptable. The Luhan's bodyguards found him, and he proceeded from camp to camp, town to town, and village to village, making sure the people knew that who was in command. Near the end of the trip, when he thought the threat of violence passed, that is when, I'm assuming, the assassin made his move. He had positioned himself masterfully, exploring a blind corner to avoid the gate security staff. He had crossed open the open space in the blink of an eye, aimed his weapon masterfully straight at Luhan's heart, and he pulled the trigger. The weapon did not fire. An instant later, the assassin had been buried under bodyguards and soldiers, beaten into unconsciousness, and securely tied for transport to prison. A dangerous gamble, Luhan thought, that he had undertaken for himself by coming out to these remote regions, but one that had paid off. One that could only further his image. Celestial intervention, no doubt. Well, it's a good thing that all the powers above us are able to protect Luhan's life. Collapse of the underground state's security in Poland. And again, are any of these we want to do? I mean, we have a lot of command power, so we might as well. I don't know, focus on the bandits again. They're at 0. The communists are, weak, 25. I'm not really too worried about them, honestly. Okay, the Olympics are over. Not a big deal for us. Every inch. I mean, again, all is well. Centralized agriculture with basic mechanization will make our country richer. Germany has reinvaded the British Isles. Operation Sea Lion 2. Very cool. So, what does America do in this instance, then? Yeah, the bottom line. Okay. So Germany has... they actually just get a bunch of free landing sites. Well, that seems a little unfair. But I'm assuming that the U.S. is not going to intervene. Yeah, well, so luck, Britain. Good luck, Britain. I don't think you are going to succeed. How many troops do you actually have? 33 to 64. A handful of resistance brigades. Well, I mean, they've already taken London. It's essentially over. Alanda has been inaugurated in Chile. We do have production units now, though. I think we'll just put a few more on civilian. I think that seems reasonable. And follow you up. I mean, oil processing could be good. You're 65. I mean, it's only a month ahead of time. So let's go for you now. Humans United, West Siberia, Bottle of Montevideo. Siberian Workers Federation. Okay, so there's a little rebellion within the Central Siberian Republic. I mean, again, almost every single, socialist. The socialists will unify Russia. That is I think just a fact of life. Or maybe not. Samara has somehow won. I did not see that happen. The NPA has lost hope, or loses hope. Zheng Zhejian and Anampu had despised Luhan from the moment he had taken the mantle of leadership that even he knew was unworthy of. Nevertheless, they had stayed on. Surely that they could do more good from within than without. Then came the demands. Fire on the unarmed peasants begging for a single week's pay, delayed for months. cross the border to put down a revolt on the request of Japanese. Lose tens of hundreds of your own men fighting not even for Yunnan, but for collaborationist dogs at Nanjing. And now guard the shipment of valuables, precious minerals that will be sent straight out into the maw of the reorganized republic. Who did Luhan even serve? One thing was sure, it wasn't for the people of Yunnan, nor was it for the people of China. The decision to do something had to be swift to take. But who to help? Who to sponsor them? That debate raged for hours, late into the night, until finally a somber silence descended on the two. There had really only been one man, wasn't there? Only one candidate who could lead both men, and all of Yunnan. The next morning, they cleared both their schedules and checked those of Yunnan's highest dignitaries. Finding the man's empty, Zhang Jing picked up the phone and said one thing to the operator. Get me Long Yun. And I would say with that, it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So if you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not enjoying, thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.